This is my first time buying a house, and I don't really understand the process and how it works. Hi, my name's Joey Verga. I'm with Verga Realty, Panama City Real Estate, and that's a question I get on an everyday basis. Folks don't understand the process and what goes into a typical real estate transaction. So I'm going to break it down. I shot this short video to kind of let you know the steps. So step number one in a real estate transaction, if on the buyer's side, when you go to purchase a property, this is for buyers, is typically we send our folks out to get them pre-approved by one of our lending partners. We'll take them, they run the credit, they get them to turn in all the income documents, and then after that they'll issue what's called a pre-approval letter. So it's basically like checking your wallet before you go to the grocery store and you look in there and you see you got $200 for groceries. This is going to be a very similar thing. You see how much you've got that you're approved for. This truly is the correct way before you go out and start searching for properties all over the place to get pre-approved. And I'm going to tell you a few reasons why about that. The first one's going to be you need to know how much money you're approved for. And the second is there's lots of different loan programs out there, USDA, FHA, conventional, VA, and you need to know that not all houses qualify for all these different types of loans. So if you can qualify for a certain type of loan, not only do we need to search a price criteria of what you're approved for and what you're comfortable with, but we're also going to have to search for homes that fit the criteria for that particular loan program. A lot of the government loans, first-time home buyer loans, things of those natures don't allow you to buy a house that needs to be fixed up. They want you to buy a house to be move-in ready. They don't want to set you up for failure and find out you closed on a house, then a good rain comes through and then the roof is leaking. These are things that they try to get you and pretty much don't allow you not to. You have to get a move-in ready house. That way you don't have these problems, especially as a first-time home buyer. So step number one is to get you pre-approved. Find out your loan program and find out your amount. Okay. Step two is typically what we do with our clients. We'll send out a list of properties that meet the needs that were on the pre-approval letter we just discussed. Now, we tell the customers try to pick out 5 or 6 of your absolute favorites, what I call the cherries. So you pick out the ones you like from the list, and then you send us back the MLS numbers, which is really easy to do. You just text us back or email us back, just MLS numbers, don't need anything else, with the time that you're available. We'll set the appointments as well as double check once again with the agent that listed the property. Will this work for X loan program, FHA, USDA, whatever type of program you were approved for? We want to know, and we're going to ask the realtor on the other side again, do you have any doubts this will work with this type of loan program? So that way we're double checking it. We don't want anybody to fall in love if we have doubts that the property is going to meet the loan criteria. So you got to make the customer happy and get you guys what you want as for a house, but you got to make the loan program happy too. And that's something that not a lot of first-time home buyers understand, which is completely fine. It's not a big deal. The other one, the next step after that is we find the house you like. We go out, we look at the houses, and boom, there's the one that jumps out at you. You love it. Your husband loves it. Your wife loves it. Kids love it. It's the house for you guys. So we move forward on it. What we do is we'll go back to the lender, and let's just for conversation's sake say it's a $150,000 house, and you're approved for $200,000, and your pre-approval letter clearly states $200,000. So we'll go back to the lender and we'll say, Mr. and Mrs. Lender, we need you to adjust the pre-approval letter. This house is listed for $150,000, but our buyer wants to come in at $147,000. So we need a brand new pre-approval letter to match the $147,000 offer that we're making. So here's your contract for $147,000, and then here's the pre-approval letter for $147,000. And when we submit the offer to the seller's agent, we're going to submit the offer itself, and then we're going to accompany it with the pre-approval letter that matches. I always tell folks this is a good way of looking at it. It's like playing cards. You don't want to get dealt your hand of cards and show everybody, and then all of a sudden, play your hand. You don't ever want to show them. So we don't ever want them to know that we're approved for $200,000. Not the way to go. We're only going to let them know that we're approved for what we're offering. That way they don't know, and negotiation's still on the table, and it is what it is. Don't show your hand. Big no-no. And we would never do that. We handle all this stuff, by the way, with the lender and getting all the information for them. So the next step is going to be they accept your offer, or they counter, or they deny it. But for video's sake today, they accept your offer, and we're going to move on to the next step. Typically, our contracts are written with 10 days. 10-day inspection time, sometimes 20 days, depending on. So if we could do it in 10, it makes the offer when we submitted it sweeter that we're going to do our inspections within 10 days. And you have the right to inspect the property. That's a home inspector. That's pest inspector, that's survey, water test, soil sample, whatever you want to do. You have the right to inspect the property, okay? Now, all those are different areas of what would be considered to be a closing cost, all those different little fees. So once you get into that and you're doing the inspections, you're also taking the money to the title company. It's an escrow money deposit, earnest money, good faith. It's got like a bunch of different names. In the state of Florida, we typically use title companies. So the title company is going to be the third non-interested party holding this money for us for the sake of the transaction. It's not for you as the buyer, and it's not for the seller. Now that's put up, and that's for the sake of the transaction. Now, that money is not yours at that time, and it's not really the seller's at that time. So just for conversation's sake and the sake of this video, we're going to say the house comes up and has termites. And it's a severe problem of termites. By the way, most houses in Florida are going to have a little termite damage, but this one has a lot, and you're the buyer, and you don't feel comfortable with this. Then simply we get a cancellation and release due to the inspection not turning out how you want it, because you have that right to inspect, and the cancellation and release is signed. The title company releases the money. We go back and get back in the car, and we start looking at properties. We start the process again. It's the same with the home inspection. Say the roof is in bad condition, there's some serious issues with it. We do the cancellation and release. You had your right to inspect, and during your inspection, you found something that was not acceptable, so to speak. So there are ways out of it, and to be able to get that $1,000 escrow money deposit back that you had put up. Now, the one case you do not get your money back, you like house 123 Smith Street, and house 123 William Street comes onto the market, and you're already in a contract on Smith Street, but you want the house on William Street, and you just decide, hey, none of the inspections came back bad, but this ain't the house for me. So typically that $1,000 escrow money held by the title company would go to the seller, and it would keep you out of court. Way we were taught in school, a lot of times the courts view that as liquidated damages. That $1,000 you basically surrender because you breached the contract. So it keeps you from getting sued, is what we were taught in school. But I'm sure with lawyers, you could probably, anybody can sue anybody for anything. But that's typically how it's supposed to work. And from what I've seen in my career in real estate, that's usually how it works. Now the seller will be ticked off a little bit, and they'll take the money, but they're upset because they lost valuable time on the market. But for the most part, we're good. So after the inspection's done and it's good to go, the title company and the lender starts working on the documents, and you just basically sit back, and then we'll have what's called a closing. The closing is typically done at a title company. I've seen it done in lenders' offices. I've seen it mobile notaries at the property, but for video's sake and for majority of the time, it's done at a title company. So there'll be a title agent there, depending on the loan. They usually take about an hour or so, and sometimes there might be snags and might get held up, or but for the most part, I'd say probably an hour or so. We're there as your agents. We will always be there with you. It'll be my father or myself, or if we have other agents, somebody will be there with you, basically to hold your hand. We understand it's scary, and it's something you haven't been through, or you might have been through it once or twice, but it's a nerve-wracking process if you don't do it every day. So we will be there with you. We also like to have the lender that pre-approved you, whether it's a lender you picked or it was one of our financing partners out there. We like the lender to be there if possible, if it's an in-town lender, in case you have questions about the loan, because I'd say a good 50 to 75% of the documents that are going to be signed are going to be finance related, mortgage related. So if you have questions, it's good to have the actual source there to answer the questions. So that's it in a nutshell. There's a lot of other details. If you like to chat real estate, you like to buy a house, whatever the case may be, have a family member, I'm going to put a link below, and the link below is going to direct you straight into our website. We have search functions. We have a large library of all different kinds of information for buyers and sellers and military and property management. It's a wealth of information, but the main thing is our contact information's on there, and there is a property search for you. It's updated every night at midnight. So I hope this video helped you. I hope it broke down the process to make it a little bit easier for you to understand. And if there's anything we could do, like I said, visit the link below, look at our numbers, email address, whatever, reach out. Again, I'm Joey Verga with Verga Realty, and I thank you for watching my video. Have a great day.